Mill holding on to it. Just like,
Yeah.
And then he will, if there's any votes,
Absent.
said you wouldn't vote. And there's your note sheet. Before you forget, make a quick hit call and ask
Yes.
us. I'll be right back.
All right. Larry, be right back.
you got just enough time.
Yes, sir.
Who ran to the?
Larry.
Nothing like, we're doing a simple one tonight. I'm not grabbing anything else out.
Fair enough. You want a different pen, or you like this one with the little fuzzies?
Fuzzy guy on top.
Okay, Kenny, I love you too, man.
It's a long walk. No.
Oh,
That was me.
anybody have a notepad, scribble pad? Or just something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I got it. I'm sorry, I got it. I got a bit of a
Everybody,
scribble.
please silence your phone.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have not already done so. If you need to take a call or something, please step out.
Oh, thank you for reminding me.
Larry will be right back.
How about we not take the call?
Dave Noble, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. What I do best.
Oh,
I talked to him this morning, or last night.
King of England, everybody. The King of England.
Yeah, well,
That's who I'm running for. King of England.
You place
I
Charles?
think I can take the old man. Yeah, Charles. I think I can take him.
Take his old lady with him too, right?
Yeah, I got no business with her.
He went from nice to ugly.
Yeah. What was he thinking?
Not 25 years down the road.
Oh, I know.
he signed in on the sign sheet.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
She didn't get hit with the ugly
As
stick.
as a reminder, we're live streaming right
Are we really?
You can use.
Well, hello, world.
now. Before you say anything you don't want anybody to hear, I'm gonna put that out there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What was that about the king?
I'm still running for King of England.
We'll move that over there so I don't spill it.
They
We don't
always-
live in England, you can say whatever you
They're
want.
with-
Right, just the first
Maybe
time.
they'll be listening. Come after me.
I'm gonna go get started. I think he said it might not be coming on the song.
I think we've been down that road before, haven't we?
Yeah.
We had a
not
guy
me,
at the
Virginia, not
stoplight
me.
that waited through 2 stoplights where it was green. And I'm like, would somebody slap him?
Anyway, yeah. 1800s and 1700s.
I mean the order. I mean the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm just gonna go ahead and use this one. Let us bow our heads, O sovereign ruler of the universe, who art the Lord of hosts and the God of peace. Without thee, our efforts are vain. Continue thy blessing upon us and our families. We pray thee and guide us during our deliberations. We beseech thee, O God, to bless the dependents of our departed comrades and to comfort all who gave their loved ones to our nation's cause. Bless and strengthen the sick, the needy, and the afflicted. Bless, we ask thee, the widows and children in our national home to help us fulfill our duty toward them. Continue thy favor upon our order and help us to practice this true spirit of comradeship, both in our councils and with the world at large. Enable us to better the community in which we live through our devotion to duty as citizens. And we'll now have a moment of silent prayer for our departed comrades and those missing in action and those held as prisoners of war. These and all other necessary blessings we ask of thee, mighty ruler of the universe. Amen.
They're gonna do the roll call.
Okay, would you call roll the executive board members to determine the presence of the quorum?
President Ronnie Hicks,
Present.
First Vice President Earl Watts,
Here.
Second Vice President Mark Nelson.
Here.
Recording Secretary Kate, I think I'm here. Treasurer Ken Morales.
Here.
Correspondence Secretary Larry Meisenheimer.
He is here,
He's in the back.
He's in the bathroom right now.
Okay.
but he had to step out.
Corporate Registered Agent Vern LeClaire.
Here.
Director Ron Swain.
Here.
Director Don Shire.
Here.
Director Mike Harbison.
Here.
And Superintendent Brad Levine. We have 1308 Director Wade Abel not present.
No, I'm not included in this count,
Okay, oh, does not,
not on the sheet. So
Okay.
we're just gonna put that.
okay. So we have 10 officers and directors and the superintendent.
Thank you. Have approval of the previous meeting minutes. Have a motion.
Yeah, so let's now, do the,
Roll call and quorum.
no, we already did a roll call, we just need to declare quorum. We just need to declare quorum present.
And a quorum present.
Minutes are coming around,
Come on down.
you gotta declare it.
Since there's 10 officers and directors present.
So you instead of second vice president, you're gonna be determined. And then once she's done, she told you that, you're gonna be second statement. And you're gonna.
Oh, you got some extra there? Honey, you got one? Vern?
One more down.
Yeah.
Okay, there's
One
some
more.
more.
One more.
Oh, one more, sorry.
Alright, hold on, he's gotta declare quorum.
What's that?
He's gotta declare it.
Yeah, quorum.
Oh, give me more
Yeah,
copies of the minutes.
what meeting is that from?
You want copies of the minutes?
From the previous meeting.
I just got one more.
I already asked him, Ron.
We need one more down there,
One more.
Oh, you need one more yet?
please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In accordance with Article 6, S2 of the bylaws, there's need 6 or more board members attending. Declare a quorum is present. I call for consideration of the minutes from the previous meeting.
Everybody should have them. These are from January. Everybody take a minute to look over them. Little section, you're gonna say that. Then call for consideration of reports after the minutes is approved. Makes sense.
Anybody need more time?
Did you need this, Earl? Did you have an extra one? Oh, you got it.
Make a motion that we, oh, sorry, Brian.
Anybody else? Need more time?
A motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll second.
Who said second?
Larry.
Doc?
Larry.
Larry Alphabet?
Just gotta get that dig in, don't you?
That's good. Good.
All those in favor?
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
I have a suggestion.
This is just for the executive board.
Do you want to hear the suggestion?
Well, you can wait at the end for the good.
I was asking Ron.
I just got one question.
The executive board can make comments.
Okay.
I got a question. I was looking through the minutes. I wasn't at the last meeting, and I see we have a second vice president. I wondered when did we initiated or nominated? When was that done?
So, this is funny that you bring that up. So, when Matt Tebby, we had his going away moving ceremony, everybody that was here, remember when Matt Tebby was sitting over there in the corner?
Yep.
And then you made a suggestion, and it was recorded in the minutes, that since Matt Tebby was leaving, that everybody on the executive board, so at that time you were the second vice president, and you just made a recommendation out of order of the, when we weren't in session, and then you said, you made a suggestion that everybody else move up. So at that time, you moved up to the first vice president, and Mark at that time was, but there was never any, it was never put on any of the agenda, it was just a suggestion that you made.
I don't think I made that suggestion.
Well, it was reflected in the minutes, but that's-
We have to nominate, the
Yes.
chairman has to nominate, we have to vote on
And
it.
we brought that up,
Yeah.
but then you made the suggestion that everybody automatically move up.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was in the
I'd like to
minutes.
see it, so.
I can get it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mark's even
I don't
questioned
remember
it too.
that, I'm just questioning the fact, that,
Yeah.
whether we done it right. Now, we talking about making.
It's in the
corrections
minutes,
to get it
but if we
straightened out.
wanna go back, it's an easy fix. We can, you mean, the board can call it?
I'm not here to argue with anybody.
Yeah.
Or anything,
Yep.
just wanna get the facts straight.
Yep, so we
That's
do
all.
have it in the minutes, because we reviewed all the minutes for the
Yeah.
last 10 years. Because when we were at the annual meeting, we put together all of that history. And so, if you want that information, I can get it for you, but,
Like I said, I don't remember, making that.
yeah, it's in
suggestion,
there.
but,
I can get it,
Everybody moved up, was supposed to move up.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
nominate somebody to move up.
yes. But you were the one who made that recommendation, outside of
And I
taking a
never knew
vote.
that Nelson was in that position though, that's why I'm
Yes,
questioning it.
and you're not,
Sitting right
and
now.
technically, like, you are correct.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be in the first vice president position until a vote is taken. But that's at the call, like you said, the president, if you guys wanna call another vote, that's up to you.
We don't have to vote, the Robert's Rules of Order states that when that person leaves that job, then, automatically, the second vice president moves up to the first
I
vice
don't
president.
know.
You don't have to vote on it.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm
That's the
not.
Robert's Rules of Order, and that's in your bylaws.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm not, I don't know, Earl,
Yeah.
you asked me a question, I said it was in the minutes,
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but if you want to
So
talk
he
about it,
just said, or that's
Well, it's
basically
all
what
right
we
that,
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it can be done, I mean, it can be rectified, but I don't know if anybody wants to rectify it, that's
I
fine.
just realized the fact that it was just put on the sheet that, in that position, so, That's why I questioned it.
Yeah.
And it never was brought
No,
up. I
Mark's
don't see
even
what brought
asked
up.
in the past, how did he become that? And that was how he became, because you made a suggestion in a meeting that since
Well, I
every,
talked to Mark and he said he would, share his information as to what, how it come about.
yeah, well, if he has other information to
That's what
fill
he
in.
says, you know,
Yeah.
I talked to him. He
So-
can answer for himself.
I just know,
Yeah.
any other organization I'm in,
Yeah.
there's a rank or a line of succession. Commander, senior vice commander, junior vice commander. So when the commander's not there, the senior vice commander takes charge. When the senior vice commander's not there, the junior vice commander takes charge. It's common sense. I don't know why anybody's complaining about it. And like you say, it's in the bylaws.
Yeah.
So why are we discussing it?
Well, it never was discussed prior to that, to make these
But
moves.
it's
That's why I
understood,
questioned it.
it's understood.
All organizations not run the same, and their Robert's Rules of Order is not carried out the same.
Anything to
You
do
know.
with the minutes right now, so.
Yeah, this is not on the agenda, so let's just move on.
Well,
I can't remember, was there a motion on the table for the minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
a
yeah,
second.
motion and second, yes.
Just need a
All
vote.
those in favor?
All those in favor, we have a roll call.
No, we don't have to do roll call tonight.
All those in favor,
Aye.
those opposed? Unanimous. The call for the consideration of reports.
All right, I'm gonna pass around the expenditure report.
Good Lord.
It's front and back.
Oh, I got an extra one. I'll share it.
Thank
Save paper. That's nice.
Jams a lot though.
It's coming around.
The rest are coming around.
Stack them, coming around.
I just had an extra one.
She donated over here. Okay.
That's what I'm doing right now. You just called for the consideration of it.
Oh, I got one.
And then after the- after you called for it, then they would call for the report. And then move on to the next page. Which would be manager releases. Oh, you're already there. And then after the reports, and then for the unfinished business. All right, everybody have a report? Okay, so the administrative expenditures by category. Up top. Kate, any more? Anybody else need one? All right. This is for January. Contractual services, $8,240. Dues and memberships, $200. Service contracts, $60.52. Right below that is the financial assistance. 12 veterans assisted, 29 vouchers issued. Right below that are the townships. Alton, $1,882.70. Collinsville, $410. Edwardsville, $1,115.62. My lines are crossing there. Edwardsville, $1,115.62. Granite City, $1,005.70, and Venice, $740, for a total of $5,154.02. The next page on the back is by category. It's the same amount. It's just broken down by categories. Ranging from contingencies, electricity, food, gas. These are our basic needs. Incidentals, which is personal hygiene, pet assistance, sewage, and water, for the same total of $5,154.02. Other financial assistance by category, 0. Community financial assistance, 0. Down below that are our balance of financial accounts. Administrative fund remaining $295,452.92. Aid to vets, $135,862.39, and just the balances of our 2 banking accounts. Any questions? If not,
Have a motion to approve the report as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Ken,
I'll second it.
who said second? Oh, Bob.
Yep.
there's only gonna be one vote. Roll call. Yes, next to the, oh, no. No, not yet.
Okay, okay. Oh,
Just the motion.
I have first and second.
We have a motion, a first and a second. Those approved, those,
No, we just did, we already did. All in favor?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Consideration of the IAC
No, just-
unfinished business.
Just a reminder again, commission delegate and alternate selection certification forms were distributed at the annual meeting. Many people in post picked them up, and then they were mailed out to the post. We only had one kickback. If you need one, you can go to our website, and you can download it there. I can make you copies here tonight. Dave can, wherever he disappeared off to, he readily accessible copies. We will attempt to reach out to the posts that are turning them in to clarify if there's something that doesn't add up. Like some people, for example, may put the same person as the delegate and alternate, right? I'm just giving you that as an example. I'm not saying anybody did, but that would be for us to call out and say, wait a minute, you know, this is the whole discussion we've had for the last 3 months. The importance of having a delegate and an alternate. And then once again, that it's reflected in your post membership meeting minutes. Because then if there's ever a question about our records, you have your records of your post meeting minutes, okay? And then those are coming in now, and we're gathering them up. And like I said, if you get a call from us, then it's probably because there's something on the form that didn't make sense or something that was out. Anybody have any questions on how to fill out the form? Anybody understand the importance of the form? Does everybody understand the importance of the delegates and or the difference between the delegate and the alternate?
Yes.
Just because you're a delegate and you're alternate, you have an delegate and an alternate, and if both shows up, only get one vote, right?
Not with the new
The
law.
delegates are made up of the commission too, right? The delegates and the alternates. That's the full board. Those are the ones that come to the quarterlies and the annual. Everyone is welcome to come to these meetings, right? Everyone has traditionally come. I apologize for the space, but this is what we have, and we're lucky we have it because it's bigger than what we used to have. Then it's easier than trying to transfer meeting rooms and everything else and stuff like that. So, we encourage you to invite your delegates, because what happens is we arrive at a quarterly meeting, and if the delegate, that's the only meeting they showed up at, they don't know what's going on the previous 3 months.
You mean alternates?
The delegates,
Oh.
but like the full commission delegates. So, like if a delegate from a post in Troy, I'm just using an example, wants to be involved and know what's going on and to actually be educated about what the votes are coming down the pipe at the quarterly and annual meetings, then it would behoove them to make sure that their delegate is at this meeting here. Right? Because then they can't show up at the quarterly and be like, well, I didn't know what was going on, or I wasn't informed, or I didn't get an advance notice. Okay? We try to get it out as fast as possible. some of you guys have had issues, I know, if you have problems because you didn't have a meeting, right? Because of snow. Everybody went into a panic mode this last snow like we've never seen snow. So if your meeting fell on that night and you can't get your next meeting done, because February has already started in February to meet the March 1st deadline, that's one of those things that we discussed too, right? You show up to the quarterly meeting with the form, you'll be good, right? Make sense? Any questions over that? I think we beat that down.
The next item on the agenda is a consideration of unfinished business.
We just did that.
Just did that.
New business.
And new business?
All right, so here's the advance notice. The preliminary budget process is changing again in this fiscal year for Madison County. Madison County is now going to a software program where all the departments will have a login. We haven't been advised on anything other than how many people are going to access this account. So that's all I know at this time. But we will have a login, and then we will go in, instead of using Microsoft Excel, which the county, that's what they used to use, and then the formulas would get all messed up because everybody, put whatever they want and all over these Excel documents. But my understanding is we will have a portal, or what's called an application, to log into, and then we will be able to not only see and put together the budget, but we will be able to pull reports directly from the auditor. Right now, they send out monthly reports to me in various forms, and then I got to cobble together different things, and it's a nightmare. So hopefully this rolls out pretty good. Just giving you advance notice. So then if you show up at the June meeting and we're still looking at stuff and I don't know how to explain the application, then it's because it's brand new, okay? So I'm just giving everybody a preliminary heads up. And I go back to what I said earlier about the unfinished business. Underneath unfinished business, it's been historically done. If people show up, they understand what's going on throughout the year, and then if they have a question and they haven't shown up for the previous 15 meetings, and then they show up and they want to know about the budget process, it's kind of hard for us to stop in the meeting and re-explain that to one person, or one delegate, I should say. Does that make sense? So please ask your delegates to show up. Communication is a problem no matter where we're at with this board. With your membership board, with your commission, or commission delegates, with your post meetings, everybody has communication problems, everybody has that going on. So you know how it is when one person is absent, it's tough to go back and explain and bring them up to speed. So, next.
Next item on the agenda is for the good of the commission.
Nope, we're at B. B. VAC outreach. We beat this drum, since day one, going back to 2009, 10, 11, 12, it's come up time and time again. What do we do for outreach, okay? And this is one that I went to the district meetings of the VFW, I went to the district meetings of the American Legion. I've talked to many of you guys after the annual meeting. I pretty much heard from everybody at the annual meeting about a lot of things. And this is one of the things that keeps coming up. Just so you guys understand, membership and outreach is something that we want to do. We want to help you guys. We have all kinds of veterans that come into our office on a weekly basis, butt and seat, that are not members of Post. Okay? And we've worked in the past, I'll give you the history of it, just very briefly. Richard Dickover, anybody remember Richard Dickover?
Absolutely.
He used to be the recording secretary. At the end of all of this meeting, or when we got to the part in the meeting, I would distribute a list on an Excel document. For some of you guys may remember back this, Ronnie may be the only one, and Kate. And I used to take an Excel list, and every veteran that came in and met with any of our staff, we would put their name on that Excel document, and we would put the nearest post that they may be eligible for or interested in geographically. Does that make sense? And then we would give that to all of you on the executive board. And then you guys should have took that list back to your post and then contacted that veteran because they were already shaking their head up and down that they wanted to be a member. Okay? I want to do this again, but we can't manage the process. So I talked to Ron, and I talked to the VFW, and they're all for it too. Because we got people that need, from the time that they come into our office and they meet with us at appointment number 1, and we have to keep them for 10 or 15 months. You guys at the post, if we can drop them off to you at month 1, at the end of month 1, and you guys can keep them active until their either claim is decided, they're back to work, their Social Security kicks in or whatever, and keep the motivation steam going and get them across the finish line, that would help us tremendously. It would help you guys tremendously. And I think it's the right thing to do because if we don't do something about it, our membership is going to fall apart. And when I mean our membership, I'm not talking about the VACs. I'm talking about I'm a member of some of these posts. All of them, matter of fact. And if we don't figure it out, but once again, it can't be too taxing on the VACs. So I'm not saying we need to solve it tonight. But that was what we came up with last time, right? And some of these veterans that are coming through our programs, if that's the only thing that we provide for them at the end of hanging around for 2 years is a membership to an American Legion for 5 years, right? Or the Marine Corps League, and we pay that membership for that veteran for hanging around and actually completing the process, because I can't tell you how many recycles we see. And anybody who's been in the military knows what a recycle is, right? That means we keep seeing them for the same problem because they never get across the finish line. Because we drag them along for 3 months, we help them out for 3 months, and then something happens in their life and we don't see them again. And then they come back in and we restart the process. That is where you guys come in. We drop them off at your doorstep and then you guys perform. And you keep them motivated. There's many of them that we've sent down to you guys that are still around, that come to meetings now, because we helped them across the finish line. And they're successful, and they have income in their pocket. They return to work. They have VA comp, but they still come around, or VA pension too, or any of the other Social Security or whatever. And they valued that. And how much is a 5-year membership?
It'd be 35 times 5. $165.
Okay.
$165.
So getting somebody across the finish line that has to wait for 2 years for their VA compensation claim to be decided, if I can drop them off at your doorstep and you can motivate them, and anytime they get, because what happens is they file the claim through us and then 2 weeks later they call and they want to talk to a service officer and they want to say, what's the status of my claim? But they still got another 18 months maybe. Or they may get denied. Somebody has to be that motivating force, and it's not the VSO. You know why? Because the VSO has another butt in that seat that's a different veteran. What I'm afraid of is if we do something like this, we can't have post, like this is post business, some of them doing it, some of them not. Because the veteran is looking and they're like, why did you drop me off at that post? All they do is gamble, and you heard the whole routine. Right? So we're not dropping them off to do that stuff. We're dropping them off for you guys to get a member, motivate them, groom them into becoming wonderful members of your post. I will do it on my end. When they come back the next month and they check in with me, guess what I'm going to ask? Did Ron help you out at American Legion 199? If they say no to me, then I'm going to have a discussion with Ron. I'm not going to go back to the veteran, right? Because there's a kink in the chain. Does everybody does this make sense? Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to belabor the issue, but I just wanted to put it out there. I'm willing to have the discussion again. It comes up every time. So if it keeps coming up when I talk to individuals on the phone, these leadership, different posts, then it's something you guys need help with. But the VAC, we can't solve it because it's a national problem. But I think we could put a pretty big dent in it. So what I'm asking you guys, once again, this is not for me, this is for our veterans. Is this something that you want to do? And I think it should be reflected by a vote that it moves forward, and then we can move forward on our end. Ron and I have already talked. We did it for, what, a handful of people that we have done over the last couple years. And we need one point of contact. Because that's, you know, we can't have 27 different service organizations feeding up to us, because once again, then we're back into the communication loop.
Do we have like any like what they call like a CRM software, like a client management software? That
We're gonna get to that here right in a minute.
Are we?
It's on the agenda, next on the agenda.
Sorry. I was just thinking though,
All right.
for that though, because you could create it for each legion.
I already got the Google form and everything created. All I need is you guys is a blessing that you wanna do this. To do the item B.
Thanks.
The motion would be, Kate asked, to do, for the VAC to perform, help perform this function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we're not gonna solve it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And there's gonna be roadblocks. There's gonna be a lot of communication, because how many times have I called you guys, right, in different areas?
Right. Remember the last time we done that? Is there any way you can we can find out here before we send them to these organizations whether or not these guys has got any kind of records? Because the last guy that
What do you
we
mean
got,
records?
well, the last guy we got that we sent to my post, this guy had order of protection against him, which his wife lived right across the street, and we couldn't get him in because he couldn't come to no meetings because he had order of protection.
That would be on the veteran to disclose that to you.
Yeah. I
mean,
wondered if we could solve the
Hey,
problem.
I'm waiting, I'm trying to get background checks done myself, so. Yeah, no, we don't know any of that. What we would do is we don't have that information. And even if we did, that would be something that I can't disclose, but if any public information you can get from.
And the other question I had on the outreach programs, like we have it out to the golf course and, what is that, that church out there on Falsburg Road?
That one's not ours.
Okay. When we set these outreach programs up, is it any specific place where we set them up, and do we have to pay these people for space or something in there?
So, I'll address it real quick because it's not on the lines of membership. But, historically, what used to happen is, when I started, Daryl Sane was the VSO. He took the Troy, Highland area. I took the other part of the county, and every week we would go sit, we would leave literally in the morning,
Right.
and then we would go sit there at that post from 9 to
Noon.
and then another post maybe from noon or 1 to
Right.
3 every week.
Yes.
And then I would sit there, and guess what?
Nobody.
Let's back up. Or if Kate or one of you guys drug somebody in, right? But other than that, if you guys didn't bring somebody to us, we sat there and twiddled our thumbs. And then I took over, got hired as superintendent, and I started thinking about it, and I started saying, is this the most cost-effective use of our VSOs and our time? Because there is a time value of money for everything. So if I'm sitting down there seeing nobody, but I can sit up here and see 3 or 4 without having to do any calls, because our seats are filled every day. So that's why, and then we slowly started backing away from that. And then we only had we went to the meeting once a week at the Cottage Hills VFW. And then COVID hit, and they closed all the bars, and that's why I moved to Woodlands. So there's really and we've always talked, should we go where the veterans are or the people are? So we've talked in the past about not going and setting up more at like the Collinsville Italian Fest, or the Goshen Market out here, or the places where people are already at, versus us trying to create an event, spending a lot of time, resources, and then only 2 or 3, or no offense to you guys that show up to our events, seeing the same people over the same time. So those are the things that I'm looking at. Those are the things that I can't flex on. But I'm willing to do anything you guys want to do. This is come up again and again. Like I said, we're not going to solve it tonight. But I just think it needs to have you guys' backing. You guys represent the full commission. It's just like the U.S. government, right? They elect a representative to represent the state, right? We elect 2 senators and elect the House of Representatives. We all don't run to Congress with all of our issues. We hope that they vote our way. That's why you guys are here. And then you guys represent, because you guys came from the full commission. So it's kind of like the structure of the U.S. government. And you guys being in the military, you guys should know that, right? So, I think it's appropriate. Once again, I've always taken motions and votes and brought all this stuff to you guys' attention to be voted on, and then we bring it up to the full board again. So I think that this is an important enough issue to get a vote on it, to see that everybody wants to do this, because then it provides me direction, and then Earl, just like you said earlier, I can point back to this meeting, and I'll be like, wait a minute, you guys agreed to this, so.
We don't have to pay the Woodlands for meeting there.
No, they provide all that space for free, and they provide free rounds of golf.
Oh, yeah.
And so, in other words, if we set up another in a local place, say like in Alton, down by the police station.
Who's we?
By the police station.
Wayne, or Earl, I just got done saying this.
You don't want to do the
We do
outreach.
not have the time, nor the staff, to manage and operate these outreach events. That's what I just got done telling you guys with these posts. That's what we just got done talking
So
about.
we just got the 2 now then, right?
One,
One Woodlands.
At the Woodland Golf
yes.
Yeah.
And we got good attendance every week.
Cottage Hill is not doing that anymore?
Well, Cottage Hills, we just said that. We had to move from Cottage Hills because of COVID, because bars were closed.
Oh,
Recreational facilities was still open, hence the golf course. So it wasn't that we moved, we moved out of necessity.
That's a veterans family-owned organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've talked to them, and there's some wonderful suggestions that came up just this last meeting about them getting some chili going down there. Larry's going to cook us up some hot and mild chili. But anyway, I think that this just needs a motion on you guys to vote on it.
Okay, then I will make a motion that the VAC help veterans organizations from the members that did help
Just read number B.
and find a home in veterans organizations.
There you go.
That's a motion.
Second.
Not second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Hearing none? Hearing none?
Hearing none, we move to, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it.
I will definitely bring back more. There's a lot of wonderful ideas. Now, on to your stuff, Mike. Dr. Mike.
Yeah, no.
So, whew, okay.
Yeah, why is it so hot in here tonight?
Everybody take a deep breath. I'm going to try to get this up there on the screen. So, we have 2 client management systems. This is what I have my degree in, is building these kind of management systems and looking at different things, from how do we track people coming in, how do we teach them new softwares, new tools, applications, how to program that flashing light on your VCR. But I'm going to pass this around. So we are at the time now. If you guys remember, I've talked about this, once again, over the years, and we've progressed. We've marched forward with each increment of this, and we are at the point now that we are ready to engage a third-party vendor to build us our very own financial assistance with their own IMC application to manage all of our financial assistance vets that come in. Right now, it's managed historically the way it was. It used to be paper. You see those big filing cabinets out there when you came in? We used to have to answer the phone, and all of the phones were not connected. We didn't have the lovely chats and all this stuff that we got today, and emails was sparse here in the office, and we didn't have shared calendars and all these other wonderful tools. Somebody would call, and they wanted an appointment with, say, Daryl back then. Daryl had a desk calendar. We had to get up out of our desk, walk over to Daryl's desk calendar. It was coffee stained with rings of coffee and mint stuck to it, and we had to see if he was available. And we had to check the other calendar, go back to the phone, ask the veteran if they were available on the day, and it just keeps going back and forth. Financial assistance did the same thing. Like I said, we keep seeing these recycled people over time, and then they still never made it to the finish line. This software will allow us, oh, I thought it came on up here at the screen, hold on a second, to track just the financial assistance. So, Dr. Mike, to answer your question, we have a couple of client management systems. We have one that manages like the VA process with the benefits and the claims and the filings and all the federal filings and yada, yada, yada. And we have one that is our official record for like medical stuff, HIPAA stuff. And then, like I said, we're about ready to get another financial software, not from us, but by the auditor, to log in and see all the financials. But the system that we were lacking was this financial assistance application. All of this was still pieced together like a Frankenstein process, and then it somehow along the line over the last year and a half or 2 years, it really fell apart. And then we had to rebuild it over the last couple months to get us back up to where the process is flowing until we get this application installed. What will it do? You can read it. I'm sorry, my cast is not working up here. But everybody get their. So this is just their, and I'll talk about it more if I can get it up here. But I was just going to show the same thing that you're looking at. So this vendor, I guess maybe last spring. So we started off with paper. Everything was done by paper. Everything was done by paper, communicating with the auditor, getting the check, collecting all the bills from the veterans to verify that they actually had a bill, that they actually had a need. We had to collect all that, scan it, photocopy it, blah, 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 blah. This system will allow the veteran to log in. I wish I could show you guys. Into a portal, just like we have with VetPro for our claim side. They will be able to attach their bills. They will be able to attach their lease. Something on my computer. They will be able to attach their Ameren bill. They will be able to attach their water, sewer, trash. They will be able to fill out the application. I was going to show it up here. We have a screening form that we built, and we built all of this incrementally over time. And then about 3.5 years ago, Jason and I started putting together applications, moving from Microsoft Adobe PDF forms and Microsoft Excel, and then we began building Access databases. And then now we went out and we talked to the county IT department, and they are running the county IT department on a shoestring staff. And I met with them, and they said, "Brad, we can't develop this application for you. We just don't have developers, and we can't dedicate that resource to you." So then we went out and we tried to get quotes from other people, and they were like, "Well, just to come in and try to understand financial assistance and the way the VAAC operates, we would spend more time on consulting fees than we would ever developing it. And it would have been in the tune of $300, $400 of development time. Because this is not something we can walk off of Walmart, pull the thing off the shelf and say, this works. It's very specific. If we do this, we will be the first in the state for VACs, I believe, that has their own financial assistance application. And then it will send flags. So, for example, if the vet applies and they forgot to attach they checked the box that they needed rental assistance, but they forgot to attach their lease, it will send them a notification that says, hey, you forgot to attach your lease. And then once they attach their lease and upload it into the secure portal, it will send me a notification that says, hey, Dr. Mike's packet is ready to go. You can go in there and review it for approval, call the veteran in for an appointment, and go through, as outlined on there, the 6 phases of the financial assistance process. And then there's the back office where it says close out and voucher processing. Now it moves to the back office. Now we have to communicate somehow with the auditor, and now with this new budgeting software, which I have yet to know what it's going to do. So this is a critical resource. We've spent a lot of development hours leading up to this that we internally footed the bill for. Like, we did it ourselves. And then now I've taken, since last spring, and I've worked with this vendor, EMK Consulting, who came from us after I started asking around the county what vendor would be the closest to be able to do this that the county has already worked with. And as you can see, it came from the Mental Health Board. So the Mental Health Board was the one that introduced me to this consulting firm who said, yeah, we can do this. They had a similar type Oracle database already developed. I looked at it, they showed me it, I went in and seen it. They came down and did a presentation with me, and I said, you know what? We could modify this, make it different, but make it customized. That's where we're at. I need an approval to move forward with this. Once again, guys, outside of purchasing the 2 DAV vans, which was purchased a long time ago, this is the single largest expense that we've ever had. And for anybody to say that we've never brought stuff before this board or the full commission must not have been attending our meetings. Because I know for a fact, everybody that was here back then when we did the cars, they voted on that, bringing that car. We purchased it from Ford through a trust out of, Columbia Trust out of the DAV. The only other thing I can think of that we bought higher than this is this to remodel this office, which was $85,000, but the county paid for that. The only other time I can think of any other purchases over $5,000 is that nice little copier. I don't even think that was $5,000 outside the door because we bought it used. And then those 2 filing cabinets. Outside of that, I can't think of any other time. We're at a time right now, we need this. It's good. These 2 people that I'm working with, they're good. They understand what I need. If we move forward with this, I will begin working with them to, as you can see, put this together, go through the process of implementation and testing.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Some of these veterans may not have a way or know how to attach something.
We would always have the fallback to paper and pen.
Okay, and you could attach it for them?
Yes,
Okay.
like right now, if I could show you the way, so if you go to our website right now, I can't show it to you because for some reason my tab's not casting. Let me try it this way.
It's on the back side.
There it is. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get to you, Dr. Mike.
Can I go to the back?
So, right now, there you go. Go to our website, veteran. All this was done during COVID because we had to operate remotely. So all these tools were already in place way back in almost 3 years ago. And then we rolled it out, and they can come in and they click here now and they complete the financial assistance screening, and then it takes them to a form, and they go through the form, there's the 6 phases, but they can't do the attachments. This is not secure, so they're not attaching any of their bills, they're not giving us any of their financials, they're just giving enough information so we can do the outbound call and then begin the next process. So yes, we have that, but this will be all secure behind firewalls and all that secure language.
They will get, I assume, a name, username, and a password, I assume?
Yep. And then they can log back in and attach stuff.
Anywhere, if they go to the library, something
Yep,
like that?
yep.
Okay.
Or they come in here, we're gonna have tablets to where they can do it
Okay.
here, like we're doing it now, we're putting people on tablets to
Oh,
do this now.
okay.
So what happens though if we decide that, like, I know they have the annual hosting domain, the SSL certificate, but what happens to that? Because some of these companies, the way they get you is if you break that contract, right, they own your domain name, they own your SSL
Yep.
certificate, and they own your hosting,
Yes.
and then you have to purchase that from them, and it
Yep.
becomes like,
Yeah, we're,
sometimes it's
so that was
ridiculous
one of the questions that we talked about last time. That's just the hosting of it, all the data is ours. So I would be
It's
able
not
to,
the data though, it's not the data.
yes, but if I needed to move,
What I'm telling you
companies.
though is a lot of these companies, because I've had it happen to me with my business, and they ended up owning my domain name, my SSL certificate, and the hosting. I did not own that, and it's in the contract a lot of times down at the bottom. And what ends up happening when you go to try to break that contract, like for me, they wanted 25 grand for me
Yeah.
to take it back over, and I'm like,
so we've been
like,
through
hell no.
three versions of our other software to where we're at now. And that we've always made sure, and Jason made sure that we were able to do this. And that was another thing, because they're a two-man show that's gonna be doing this work with me.
so I
So,
don't, it doesn't matter how big or small they are.
no, I'm
But
talking
saying,
about like,
in the
yeah, that
contract,
was my thing, hey, if,
I would rather be more comfortable approving this if we see that contract.
Amen.
So that way, just for me, because.
You got burned.
yeah, I don't
and
know.
And I know how this works, especially, I mean, I got a good buddy that this is exactly what he does. And, and his big thing that he sells on his service is you own your hosting domain name, your SSL certificate. It's very bold in his contract and very upfront. He wants nothing to do with it. So like for him, he'll set it up in your GoDaddy account, under your account, so you're the proud owner of it, and nobody can ever take it from you. Because the worst thing that you could do is pay all this money and have this set up, which is a beautiful software. They do great. Like, I'm a big fan of them all, right? Obviously, I use them, but if you don't own that and it's not in your account in GoDaddy, it is not yours.
Yeah,
And
so I
they
will
own
find
it.
out that stuff.
And that has to be in the contract, because if it's not in the contract, if it's in the contract that we own it as the VAC, then sure, yes.
So
Right, but if we don't own that,
I think
I
it's gonna
want-
be the same setup with whatever their relationship is with other county departments. Does that make sense?
well,
So like the mental health board,
You can ask the health board.
yeah, so the mental health board, I can ask them, and then I can definitely go back and ask Alex. It's not gonna be a problem, because I'm gonna be working with them.
yeah, so I'm just
So-
saying, like, our contract needs to
Yeah,
be
and another
very
thing,
clear
the
that
the
we
other
own
thing,
that.
the other thing that came up as far as the discussion was the annual support. Because it's a little higher than what we pay for our other customer management system.
Yeah, but when you're dealing with personal, like, that's cheaper than what I pay for my
Yeah.
EHR stuff.
And then that would allow us to tweak stuff. Because when we had our first iteration of our virtual veterans back then, when they went out of business, we lost all of that stuff, and we had to go down to the
Yeah.
county, and we had to say, hey, you need to do a data dump for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And get all our data. I'm not necessarily concerned about the hosting stuff right now, at this point. I want to know if I can get our data back.
You're never
You know.
concerned about it.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm looking at the data. I don't know enough
As an
about,
organization like ours, though, you're literally talking about,
Yes.
literally like hundreds of thousands of dollars they could try to make you pay.
yeah, but I'm
to
not,
take back ownership.
that's why I'm saying I'm not a subject matter expert in that area. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but I can definitely get those questions answered.
Yeah,
We get a copy of the contract.
yeah, I mean, we need it,
Sure.
I mean, we really.
Oh, I agree.
I think
Like I
it's
said,
great. Like, I'm a
Procedures of
huge
this, we
fan.
need it.
yes.
But I
So
just. I
we're
got
not
burned
paying,
and, like,
we're not paying for it right now. We're just moving a motion to move forward with,
But we're not agreeing to the contract
No.
yet.
No.
We're
there's
just
no
agreeing that we
contract in
should.
front of you now.
Right,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm not,
so
okay.
move forward to,
To begin the process
Start
of,
the process, but we're
moving
not
forward.
approving,
yes,
we're not approving a contract or anything yet.
you're not approving anything,
Okay,
other than
Moving
looking at
forward.
this and saying,
Yep.
moving forward with this.
oh, I'm fine with that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's,
Cause the
So,
other thing, the
pay-
thing that triggered me was this license, it says
So
use
to
license with
move
all
forward
rights to
to-
program, but it's under Canoso LLC's ownership.
I don't, like I said,
And that means we don't own it.
That's right.
Yes.
That means they own the license and we are just subcontracted under them. So
I
if
don't
they-
know enough about IT stuff, so you're.
Oh, I had to learn it all.
Yes,
because
but
it
you're
was-
drilling down the wrong well here with
I'm
me.
just saying, like, that
So,
verbiage right there is
if-
not good verbiage for
So
me.
wait,
Like,
I know.
don't like that.
So I will find out those questions.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is just a
Yep.
thing to move forward.
For sure.
If you look at item 2 underneath their pricing, it says do a contract signing,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're not doing any contract signing tonight.
Okay.
I'm just presenting the solution to you.
Start the process.
Yes, the
Okay.
application.
'Cause I just want to make sure we
Yes.
weren't approving
No,
purchasing yet, because I was like, there's a lot of detail.
this
that
is just moving
I'd like
forward
see
to the next step.
Before we spend that
Yes.
much money, you know, just to
Yep.
protect us and
Yeah.
the VAC and all that, you know.
Yep.
But yeah.
It is it's a software, right?
It's to develop the application and to purchase it. You know, once it's developed. There's nothing out there that's
I
right there.
have to go pick up my
All
son.
right,
so
thanks.
Sorry.
If you want to be a part of this, you can be a part of it.
Oh,
But the
yeah,
problem
sure, I
is
will.
we only get a limited, I only get like little chunks of time, so I can't get hung up on, hey, we got a GoDaddy and I got screwed on my thing.
No, you're good.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
So wait a minute, we want to get a vote on this
Okay.
Okay, yep.
before he
So-
leaves.
So the motion would be to move forward to acquire,
Just read the statement.
oh, okay.
To begin with the.
Oh, interim and emergency veterans financial assistance application, development and purchase.
That indicates it's a purchase.
Well,
A couple minutes
whether
ago,
we-
you said it wasn't.
Yes,
Yeah.
whether we purchase it from here or somewhere else, we're not purchasing anything tonight. We're not-
This says they're gonna vote to purchase.
Right.
Yeah, but whether we do it here or not, we're
You
not.
just said it's not to vote to purchase, and then you read the vote to purchase.
Okay, well, that may have been on there, but it's not in the contract.
You can read that again and eliminate those last two
Yes.
words.
That's
Development,
fine.
subject to
Yes.
contract
There you go.
approval.
And that's on there.
And further vote by the full board.
It's on here of the part B of the contract signing. We're not here looking at contracts tonight.
So it'll be subject to contract approval.
Yes, it's on their little proposal there.
And a
Got
vote
it.
by the full commission.
Well, this is
Okay.
not your board, just let
Yeah,
the
he's-
board run this.
Okay, does
Not yours either.
Now, we-
anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion, as
Doc?
long as we did remove the purchase. and it's just-
Yes, I remove purchase, and I said, subject to contract approval.
Correct. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll motion that.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Did you say board also in there? That's what
And then I would do a roll call vote on this.
Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna do a roll call vote, as he said. Ron Hicks,
Yes.
Earl Watts,
For approval or we just?
we are an interim emergency veterans financial assistance application development, but subject to contract approval.
And the board approval?
We're gonna, yeah, that's what it says. So, yeah. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Mark Nelson?
Yes.
Kate, I say yes. Ken Morales?
Yes.
Larry Meisenheimer?
Are you for this?
Did he leave again?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Vern Leclerc?
Yes.
Ron Swain?
Yes.
Don Shire?
Yes.
Mike Harbison?
Yes.
Good.
So I have 10 yeses.
Motion passed. Motion passed, yes.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Consideration of the good of the commission.
Okay.
Ready for that?
Yes.
For the little commission, I've already talked to Ron. I've got copies of the trail bill here. And just for the ones that's on the Robert's Rule of Order statement that they said, give it to the president, vice president, the secretary, and the treasurer.
What do you have?
He's gonna give you a copy of a
Copy of the trail bill.
state statute.
Okay.
State statute.
Well, not state statute yet, still
Yeah.
gotta be signed.
Well, we got copies of it. I got it from the
Yes.
State's telling.
But, yes, but it's still gotta be signed.
Right.
So it's not law until it's
It's not
signed.
law,
Okay.
but we got it to read, and so I'm suggesting that when it do become law, and they're suggesting that this board will get together outside here, it's gonna take us a long time to go through all this stuff,
I don't think so, I just wanna correct a few things.
Yeah.
Everything in that trailer bill, the VAC here in Madison County has either already been doing, or we were the ones that made the suggestions and it vicariously made it up through the group to become part of that trailer bill.
So it's called the trailer bill?
They've called it many things.
Okay,
But-
so it's the VAC,
Yeah,
No, it's a Military Veterans Assistance Act
right.
trailer bill amendment that was passed during the lame duck session.
So, who's the treasurer?
And it's,
Is he
yeah.
treasurer?
Ken Morales.
yes, you guys gotta remember too,
Yeah.
it's a law, and like I said
Want Ron to
repeatedly,
get one?
I am getting out of-
He got his already, give one to
Mark.
Mark over there.
I am getting out of the law interpretation business. So, Earl, I appreciate your recommendations that people read this, but once again, I do not want to dive into the VAC being a legal, we're not lawyers here. So, we will drive on with what we need to drive on to, and adjust fire where we need to adjust fire as it concerns.
I didn't get mine.
You got you?
As it
No, I do
concerns,
not.
as it concerns any updates to this, once it's passed, or once it's signed by the governor. But we've pretty much been following it. Like I said, a lot of it came out of different rulings. that
Haven't
we've
been
already-
following hardly, maybe 1% of it's what you've been following.
So, we appreciate it. Like I said, I've read it, but I'm not a lawyer, so if you come back to me with questions, I'm gonna give you that answer. I apologize, but I'm not
That's
a
the reason
lawyer.
why we need to have it
Yes.
set aside, have the chairman set aside, so all these board members can go through it, and somebody either from AG's office that helped wrote this stuff, they can go through it with us on that, so we'll understand.
Well, the AG's office, the legislature is the one who
Yeah.
should write stuff, not the,
Have someone
not the
from
AG's
outside
office.
to come in to go over this stuff. with
Well,
us.
that would
We're not
be-
no lawyers either.
Well, like I said, the people that interpret law are lawyers.
Yeah.
And then they argue it in front of a judge when there's not clear understanding.
I think it's something we need to look at, even though we're talking about changing all these bylaws according to what the state says that we have to run this organization by.
Yeah, but
We
it,
need something to look at, so.
yes,
you
but
can go by.
substantially, it hasn't changed much. It's just clarifying things.
Well, we need to know.
There's a
what the
lot of,
changes
what,
are.
the things that they added was a lot of enforcement language. But once again, if you're not doing things wrong, then there's not gonna be a need to understand the enforcement
Well, you
language.
won't know whether they're doing anything wrong unless we look at it to see what we're doing.
And you've given everybody a copy,
That's
right?
right.
And they can go to the Illinois compiled statutes, they can get it on our website, so. I think the board has been, they've already been through this a lot, and we've talked about it at previous meetings.
Well, the board never had no copies of it, but they changed it.
Earl, they get, when you, it's in the welcome packet that you guys get as board members.
Not this, not this.
Yes,
right?
I know, but the original statute, so along the way, it's been given to them. And it was given to them when they passed during the summer.
I don't know why you're so apprehensive
I'm
about
not.
us not having this information.
Earl, you have it. Anybody can go to the state legislature and get it off of their website.
It should be at your fingertips, is what he's saying.
I'm just saying, we as a VAC do not want to interpret the law. So if you guys want to get together, that's fine, but I'm not going to be there to interpret the law for you.
Well, we don't want you to
I know
interpret
that,
the
Earl,
law.
that's why I'm
You want somebody else to interpret the law.
That's fine.
And then with the lawyer, then we'll all know where we stand. That's all I'm saying,
Yes.
you know.
I get it. Thank you.
All right.
If you want to download or you misplace your copy, you can go to the Illinois legislature's
I'm
website.
saying, do we want to do it? Does the chairman want to do it?
I think you're right, get into a whole legal thing.
Yeah, talk them into not doing it, thanks.
Huh?
No, it wasn't directed to you, it's directed toward the superintendent.
I mean, you guys can do what you want. If you guys want to have a meeting to go over, that's up to you guys. But I do have a say in it.
I think it's worthwhile
A say in
for
what?
these members to know on
A
this
say in
board
whether I
what's
want
what.
to be in the
They haven't
law
looked at it.
interpretation business.
They don't
Me
even look at the
personally,
bylaws, you know.
You don't have a
know
say in what
everything.
the board does.
I didn't say that.
If
I
we're
meant that
complying
I
with
do
it,
not
why do we
want
need to
to
keep
be in the law
beating your horse
interpretation
to
business.
death.
Me, personally.
If we're complying with it now, why would we wanna?
You're not
Well,
compliant
they're
with it
not
now.
complying with it because you're saying there's been a whole lot of mistakes in it, than what the lawyer said, you know.
Let's
So-
move on.
Let's, you know, if we're gonna get it
Well, you
right,
could
why
make-
not
You can make a motion, Earl.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you wanna make a motion of that?
An attorney that, not the attorney for VAC.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
What's the motion?
To what agenda item?
The, what's that, agenda?
look into,
the trailer act, you know.
The Military Veterans
Military
Assistance
Veterans
Act,
Assistance Act.
trailer bill, once it's signed.
Yeah,
If not, you're gonna be reviewing the one that was passed and signed back in the summer, in May.
If he doesn't sign it, it goes in effect in 60 days.
I'm just saying, right now, it's not signed, right?
I thought you're supposed to sign
It
it
will
on
be
the
in March.
sixth of this month.
I get it, I don't know.
I
Like
mean,
I said,
sixth
I'm
last
not-
month, wasn't
You guys can,
If the governor doesn't sign it, it goes into effect automatically in 60 days.
there you go. It was 60 days from the date that the legislature passed it, but
But I thought he signed it on the sixth, I think that's what the state representative
So
said.
March 7th,
May.
it'll be effective whether he signs it or not.
there you go.
March 7th?
March 8th, actually, since February.
Okay, your motion was, Earl, to look into the Military Veterans Assistance Act and make changes as necessary if
Yeah.
approved?
Approved, yeah.
Make sure that we're in.
We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
Wait,
second.
let me-
Need a second.
Okay, Mark, I got you.
Nobody second?
Yeah, we
Mark
did.
did.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mark, second. Go.
Question?
There's a discussion now, and then you guys will be able to.
Discussion?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Or roll call,
what
or roll.
exactly did, may I speak?
Hey,
What exactly is this going to involve? I mean, you say we all get together and go over the, what? What are we, you know, be more specific,
The
please.
VAC, American Act, the VAC Act there, and all the bylaws that's gonna be changed or could be changed, we have to have a bylaws committee to look at the changes that we wanna make, you know, and according to what the state says.
Earl, and that was brought up last meeting,
Right. Yeah, the bylaw changes.
so we already have put the will in motion to do just what you're asking for.
Right.
I'm not talking about
And
the
this is-
bylaws committee looking at the whole bylaw, I'm talking about this committee, executive board as a whole.
Yes, but in the process,
Yeah.
that act will be part of that process.
So
But it's gotta be approved by March 8th?
That has nothing to do with
Okay,
us.
I'm sorry.
So it's a committee or is it the executive
The
board?
executive board.
So you're using committee and executive board in the same,
I said the executive board.
well, you said, you used both those words. I just want to be clear that it's not just a chosen committee and instead we're talking about the board
board.
here. It's
The board.
everybody who's going to-
Everybody on this board, that belongs to the executive board.
All right.
That we need to go over this information to look at it and see where we stand. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know. To keep our own self clear, 'cause if you go to court, you're gonna have a problem. You know, if that comes up, you know, we don't know about that, but we need to know what's going on, before that happens.
Do you still second it, Mark?
I still second.
Okay. Okay, now we have clarification.
We have a motion and a second. Roll
All
call.
those in favor?
All those
Roll
in favor?
call.
Oh, you wanna do roll call?
Why is it roll call?
Okay.
Doesn't need to be. Wants to isolate.
Exactly.
Ron Hicks,
Abstain.
Earl Watts,
Yes.
Mark Nelson,
Yes.
I say yes. Ken Morales,
Sustain.
Larry Meisenheimer,
Sustain.
Vern Leclerc,
Sustain.
Ron Swaim,
Sustain.
Don Shire,
Yes.
and Doc left, so. I have 5 sustain and 4 yes. So what does that mean?
I've never had that sustained, so.
I said
It's
sustain.
you got,
Actually abstain.
somebody else could make
It's not
another
a yes,
motion
it's
to
not
table
no.
it,
No.
further discussion,
The only
somebody,
person can table is him.
It failed.
I don't know.
Person can table it is Earl.
It failed.
There you go. Don knows, probably can help us out here on that.
I don't know for sure. I would think it failed. There's not enough yes votes.
Oh,
The ability to be maintained at a certain rate or level. Sustainability.
But I think you mean abstain, not
Abstain.
sustain.
Right.
Abstention.
abstain is
Yeah,
what it is.
so,
Hey, hey,
yes, so like you said, that word you were using made no sense to me, so.
it's abstain, really.
Abstain.
Don't, yeah.
You're not
I
voting.
put an A on,
Okay.
Abstain.
yeah, abstain. Means no vote.
Well, if you recall, the governor just passed the gun laws and the courts throwed it out, so maybe this will happen, just throwing that out there.
Well, we did vote on to look into the bylaws, so
Yes.
part of that is already in motion,
Right.
so let's just
Continue with that.
continue that. You got a table though. Or, yeah,
It failed. You don't need to table anything.
just failed.
Failed, period.
Failed.
Go on to the next
Just
subject.
declare it failed.
Declare the motion failed. Our next
I still
item,
want to look into it.
our next item on the agenda,
Was that Larry?
I have
Yeah,
one
yes.
comment
Yes, all right,
that I would love to make. How many other people have had anybody try to
Thank you,
get
Dave.
on the e-benefits website and get your letter of,
Dave, go grab the
what is
pages
that
off the
called?
front.
I know what it is, I
We'll
wrote
get it
letter of
right-
approval.
We'll get it right here.
Because it locks me out. I get all the way to it and I want to slap
He's
it.
gonna help you, or try to help you.
What do you mean, a letter of approval?
Hold on a second.
If you're 100%, if a veteran is 100% service connected, you get a letter of,
We'll
you
get-
explain it.
Hold on a second. We've
Okay.
explained this in the past, but I'll address it real quick. So, the VA is producing what's called a Veterans Benefit Summary Letter, I guess, for the assessors, so
Thank
they
you.
can file the property taxes. If you need help, or you need to get the letter, because they're not, the fax machine, I think we had countless veterans out here out front that we were helping get the Veterans Benefit Summary Letter for, and they were staying here literally 4.5 hours, waiting for the fax to arrive here in our office. So now, to avoid that, and there were people in the waiting room, right, Dave? Waiting for hours. So then we got a hold of the VA again, and they said we were backed up nationwide. So the quickest and fastest way is to go to what's called va.gov. Dave's passing around the second letter. Hold on. You can also call the VA directly. There's two things that are highlighted there. If you're good at technology and you want to go that route, and once you get the account set up, it's always set up, then you can continue to go there. But you have to log in. You can't just log in one time, because then the next month or 60 days your account's going to expire, blah, 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 blah.
It is 6 months now.
We just can't help everybody that comes in to get this letter. So what traditionally happens, they go to the assessor, they didn't have the right stuff, they'd send them down here, and then they would, well, now they wait. So now we're saying call the VA, if you don't understand technology, you have problems calling in, you just call it 1-800 number. Tell them you want the Veterans Benefits Summary Letter mailed to your house.
After a half hour on the phone and then they hang up on you.
I don't control the VA federal government. The other way,
30 million.
which works, is to go into va.gov. The other piece of paper that Dave's passing around has www.va.gov written up top. if you're in front of a computer, you can't call them while you're driving down the road unless they can't help you troubleshoot. Down at the bottom is the area. It says having trouble signing in. It's real fine print there. Apparently they might not want people calling. But if you're having trouble logging in, that is the number that you call, and you will get a live representative, and they will walk you through step by step on whatever issue you're having. A lot of the times, people's computers are too old. Windows is out of date. Their securities are not up to date, and they can't access beyond the security of the VA. Does that make sense? So, that's the best we can do. You know, with helping people get signed in. It is a problem with people that are non-computer savvy.
Well,
But we will help them out as best we can. But once again, guess what we gotta do? We gotta stay on the line for 45 minutes
yeah,
at the
you're right.
same
You're right.
process.
I did get all this. I got into that. I changed the password 3 times because every time it told me they didn't recognize my password. The 3rd time they did it, I finally got through to this, and I called
Sure.
that number.
Yep.
Go back when you're.
Yes, it's frustrating.
It's not 24/7.
And they won't, from what I'm hearing, they won't go back and backdate letters now because they're having problems with.
That's right.
Because they're getting inundated, and once again, they can't get to the calls that they actually need. You gotta remember, this is a state benefit.
Right.
So when a state passes this, the federal government luckily gave us access to this letter, because if the federal government didn't have to do anything for us. They could have said, go figure it out, Illinois or whoever else, the states that are passing this property tax exemption. So,
It's not due till the 31st
yes,
of
of
December.
next year, so you have almost a whole year still, well,
Be
10
patient.
months,
You'll
10
get-
months. Call when the number, I think they're open till 9,
Yes, they are.
so,
8 to 8 Eastern.
there you go.
No, I think 8 to 9. Yeah, something like that. You're right.
Yep.
But it's Eastern time.
Correct.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah. I was ready to shoot the computer over the weekend.
You ready to move on?
Yep,
to the
I'm
next
sorry.
meeting? Is the Open Meetings Act an opportunity for public address? Is there any guest ask questions in regard to the?
Yes, I have some comments and questions. Earlier in the meeting, you mentioned that
Can I ask your name, please?
John Kraft, spelled with a K, just like the cheese company, and the jingle. Earlier in the meeting, the gentleman here mentioned he wanted to know why somebody was the second vice chairman or whatever that position was. And he said, well, it's in the minutes. It was in the minutes of that meeting where he suggested it. So it's got to be true because it's in the minutes. Well, I looked at the minutes he just approved from the last meeting, and when I reviewed the video shows you voted superintendent, but the minutes don't reflect you voted. I was wondering what the deal was with that. Because the video shows you voting, it shows the clerk noting that you voted, but the minutes don't show that you voted. So did you suddenly realize you don't have the authority to vote? Or is it somebody don't know how to write the minutes?
Me.
I think it's a legitimate question. And I would appreciate an answer. It don't have to be right now. You can think about what you're going to say, because both answers are going to be wrong. Unless you say, you realize you weren't supposed to vote to begin with. Another issue, I sent a FOIA request on January the 9th. Well, before I get to that, this new law, this new bill, when it becomes part of the Veterans Assistance Act, both the delegates and the alternates get a vote. So both people vote. And the superintendent is at will. No contract. Certainly that becomes effective and better.
Can you repeat that, please?
In the bill that was approved by the Senate and the House, the superintendent is at-will employment. In addition to both the delegate and the alternate get to vote, in addition to reiterating existing law, no committee or board of the Veterans Assistance Commission has the authority to take action on behalf of the entire commission for anything, period. Like it's always been. You guys just sat here and said, well, we've been complying with the law. Ain't nothing wrong with us. No, you approved an employment contract or a pay raise without the full board voting on it. You can't do that. He can't get his pay raise, and whatever contract extension, if that ever happened, cannot happen. It doesn't exist. You can laugh all you want, but it doesn't exist. January 9th at 8:52 p.m. I sent a FOIA request. For the nonprofit, copy all the IRS forms for the last 4 years.
Hold on a second.
I'm trying to
You
get my
quit
hearing
freaking
aid.
talking? What?
He's asking me if my hearing aid was working. I said, no, it's not.
And then he was
I'm
sitting there
trying to-
talking to the chairman.
Okay. Okay,
This will be online, and I can send you a link if you want to, so you can review it.
okay.
And for the nonprofit, a copy of the application and report to the Illinois Attorney General's Charitable Trust Bureau and the AG 990 forms for the past 4 years. And you haven't answered that FOIA request. And I reminded you, that was January the 9th. January 23rd, I reminded you, hey, please provide the requested records. 5 days has long passed. So you need to answer the FOIA request, or you're going to be answering to a court, because I will sue you for the records. You've put it in writing that both the public body and the nonprofit are the same entity. They're not, but you put it in writing saying they are. Number two, the EIN that you're supposedly using for your nonprofit, I can't find any record of it in the IRS database. There's no record of Veterans Assistance Commission Madison County being a nonprofit in the IRS database. And I believe what happens, I'm not an IRS person, but I could go from experience of seeing other things people do it. If you don't submit your mandatory report to the IRS for 2 or 3 years in a row, you lose it, period, it's done. So you can call yourself a nonprofit if you want, but you're not, can you let me finish? You can call yourself a nonprofit if you want, but you're not really a nonprofit. I'm going to file a complaint with the IRS if you don't answer that FOIA request. At the same time, I'm suing you for the answers. And an answer could be simply, hey, that's a nonprofit, this is a public body, we're not subject to FOIA. I'll accept that as an answer, because then whoever the directors of the nonprofit are that are allegedly part of this committee shouldn't be bringing up the nonprofit's business. The same with the bank accounts. If they're both bank accounts and it's all one body, it's the public body's bank account, both of them. You can't. There's no such thing as a public body that's also a 501c19, which you don't meet the definition of to begin with, because everything I read about a 501c19, you got to have paid membership. There's no paid membership in the Veterans Assistance Commission of Madison County.
We need to move along. I have dinner waiting.
For the good of the order.
For the good of the order?
So you're telling me not to talk?
No, sir. I'm just saying we need to wrap it up.
All right, I'll finish it. Don't sit there and say you're complying with the existing law before it was changed when you're not. I could point out 100 things you're not complying with, and I did it last meeting and this meeting. And those 4 ordinances that you say you passed, and that your attorney said the executive board can bind the entire commission, he's wrong and you need to fire him and refuse to pay him.
Should we hire you?
No.
Good.
I'm not an attorney. But I would damn sure not tell you that a committee can bind a public body. It cannot happen.
I'm
Thanks.
surprised you're not an attorney.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I just have public
There's
comment.
still more, somebody else may want to come.
Yeah, my name is Kirk Allen.
Just remember that.
Okay.
You done?
Yeah, I was just telling him, just so he could,
He's the chairman, he's fully capable, I'm sure. He's been around, he knows how to run a meeting. I greatly appreciate the situation you folks have been put in, because I'm sure you've applied your trust in people over the years that have done things that, because you know them and your friends and your associates, you believe that they do the right thing and there's nothing nefarious. But I can assure you what we're finding and what we're uncovering is extremely troubling. And you've been of no assistance to fix any of it. In fact, you've been a stumbling block to fixing it. And that's not fair to the public, to the taxpayers, and to, number one, the veterans. This nonprofit commingling is what it is, and it's wrong, and it's going to come to a stop one way or the other. And in regards to your comment about the veterans bill that passed, you took great credit in making that happen.
which bill was that?
This trailer bill. Your comments imply that you had a lot to do with that.
I didn't have anything to do with that.
Okay, so for the record, you had nothing to do with it.
I never approached any legislature
Okay,
or
super,
advocating on any behalf of that.
Because that's
bill.
not what I heard you say.
No.
Okay.
I've never done any.
I never heard it.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Did you have something on the minutes? They wouldn't let you speak when you had the minutes.
I've got two things I'd like to bring up. So one is a suggestion, and that was regarding the minutes. There was an item that was not included on the last minutes, and that was that Mr. Byrne here was removed from his position by his post commander. His post commander was present to explain that at the last meeting, and that was not included. That's an important distinction that will leave a vacancy on the board. That's one item. The second is that you had formed a committee for the bylaws amongst this executive board without notifying the board at large. You didn't give the board at large any opportunity, any of the members of this commission, delegates and alternates, the opportunity to ask questions or to explain their concerns regarding the new set of bylaws. So I ask, Mr. Chairman, if you would, please issue a notification to all of the members of the commission, notifying them who's on the committee and how to contact them with their questions and concerns, please.
So noted.
Notify all members.
Delegates and alternates.
Or when the bylaws are amended,
How to
or
contact-
who's on the committee.
who's on the committee and how to contact them.
Thank you, everyone.
We had a motion to close,
I make a motion to adjourn?
adjourn.
I'll second.
Seconded
Who
by-
said second?
I did.
Ken?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Salute the flag. By the number.